water. The downpour across Assam has brought normal life to a halt, and at least 5 people have been killed. While Jammu and Kashmir region is witnessing hailstorms accompanied with heavy rain, in the South Indian state of Karnataka, excessive pre-monsoon showers have claimed 67 lives since April. Over 20 people have been killed in the northeastern states hit by heavy rains. A red alert has been issued for 12 districts in Assam following 3 days of non-stop rain. Guwahati is hit by massive waterlogging, disrupting life in several areas. Electricity is cut in parts to prevent electrocution risks. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has deployed rescue teams and supplied food aid. Now, 3 landslides have been reported in Guwahati so far, but no casualties have been reported. In northern Sikkim, excessive downpour has triggered landslides that authorities say have damaged several properties in the region. In the north, Jammu and Kashmir saw torrential downpour as heavy rains lashed parts of Srinagar. Further excessive rains and hailstorms wreaked havoc in the Ramban district in southern Kashmir. In Karnataka, pre-monsoon rains affected over 90 lakh people and damaged over 1,700 homes. And experts warn climate change is intensifying the monsoon's impact, making extreme weather events more frequent and destructive. Incessant rains also lashed parts of Kerala's Kannur district. Several areas are flooded after heavy rainfall battered the region. Now, earlier, the Indian Meteorological Department put 8 districts on red alert for heavy rainfall. Now, thousands of Nepali royalists took to the streets of capital Kathmandu, demanding the restoration of the monarchy in support of the king who was deposed 17 years ago. Now, people waved Nepal's flags on the streets and chanted slogans as they marched together in solidarity. The protests are the latest in a string of rallies as support for the restoration of the monarchy grows, amid dissatisfaction over political instability, corruption, and slow economic development. "King, come and save the nation," has been screamed as the marchers chanted the slogans in unison, beating drums, blowing horns, and waving Nepal's national flag.
In the past, I was also wrong. I, too, went out onto the streets to dethrone the king. But back then, I was not thinking logically. My mind was blocked. Now I have realized that the king is far better than the Republican leaders.
We made a mistake in the past and were on the wrong path. Now it's high time to bring the king back, save the nation, and lead the country towards good governance.
The rally comes a day after the Communist Party of Nepal, the party of Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli, held marches to mark the Himalayan nation's Republic Day. In March, 2 people were killed and more than 100 arrested during pro-monarchy protests, with security forces using live fire and tear gas to disperse the rally. The last king of Nepal, Gyanendra Shah, expressed sorrow at the violent demonstrations the following month, while lending tacit support. Shah was crowned in 2001 after his elder brother, King Birendra Bir Bikram Shah, and his family were killed in a palace massacre. His coronation took place as a Maoist insurgency was raging in far-flung corners of Nepal. Shah suspended the constitution and dissolved the parliament in 2005. Triggering protests in which the Maoists sided with Nepal's political establishment. The Hindu majority nation became a secular republic in 2008. And after Parliament abolished the monarchy as part of a peace deal that ended a decade-long civil war. They want to give us more details. Our correspondent Saloni Murarka has sent us this report. Listen in.
Nepal's monarchists have started a new wave of protests demanding the reinstatement of monarchy and to also declaring Nepal as a Hindu state. This protest that is being led by the Rashtriya Prajatantra Party, the fifth largest party in the parliament, is joining hands with over 40 organizations and groups fighting for the royal comeback. In addition to the reinstatement of constitutional monarchy in the country as quote-unquote guardian of the state, the Rashtriya Prajatantra Party also demands scrapping of the 3 provincial structures in the country. However, the country's main political parties have dismissed the possibility of king returning. Saloni Murarka for WION World is One in Nepal.
Now, pandas are getting into the festive spirit in China at a safari park in Guangzhou. A star panda cub named Meiju is enjoying a special treat to celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival and International Children's Day with her dragon-shaped snacks and playful antics. Now, this adorable panda is stealing the spotlight and hearts. We leave you with these visuals. Do stay tuned. News and updates to follow on the other side of this short break. Keep watching Beyond World is One.
U.S Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to U.S Health Resort. Make your reservation at yo1.com.
This week on Tech It Out, we take a closer look at some fascinating robots from around the world. We also show you the world's tallest 3D printed structure and learn how to safeguard yourself in the digital world.
After any financial fraud, whatever you should do, it should happen within 3 to 4 hours.
This and more on WION World is One at these times.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Jyotsna Kumar. Let's begin with the headlines. At least 7 killed, 69 injured as a bridge collapses onto a railway in a Russian region bordering Ukraine. Moscow railways blame illegal interference. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky admits situation on the front lines remains difficult, tells countrymen serious fighting is taking place as Russian forces focus their main offensive efforts on parts of Donetsk region. India criticizes Pak's attempt to inject unwarranted references to the Indus water issue into the International Glacier Conference in Tajikistan, says the neighboring country violated the treaty through unrelenting cross-border terrorism, justifying its action of putting it in abeyance. China warns U.S. it should not play with fire over Taiwan, says it has lodged representations with Washington over comments made by Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth at a summit in Singapore. Senior Hamas official claims the group did not reject the ceasefire and hostage deal proposed by U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, decries complete bias towards Israel. Several Jewish institutions in Paris vandalized with green paint. Who committed the damage and why is not yet known. Probe has been launched. Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau says he's disgusted by these despicable acts targeting the Jewish community. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi confirms receiving from his Omani counterpart elements of U.S. proposal for a nuclear deal following 5 rounds of talks. Development amid report by UN nuclear watchdog suggesting Tehran has stepped up production of enriched uranium. White House withdraws Musk ally Jared Isaacman's nomination to be NASA administrator, claims he was not in complete alignment with the president's agenda. A replacement to be announced directly by Trump soon. Paris Saint-Germain destroy Inter Milan 5-0 to win their first ever UEFA Champions League title. Teenager Desiree Doucet Brace leads one of the most dominant performances in tournament's history. Police used tear gas as celebrations on the Champs-Élysées Avenue broke down after PSG thrashed Inter Milan to win the Champions League for the first time. Now, India has slammed Pakistan for violating the Indus Waters Treaty through unrelenting cross-border terrorism. Speaking at the plenary session of the first UN conference on glaciers in Tajikistan, Minister of State for Environment, Kirti Vardhan Singh, said that Pakistan was violating the treaty through terrorism. The remarks came after Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif accused India of weaponizing water. Strongly condemning Pakistan's attempt to misuse the forum by raising Indus Waters treaty issues, MOS Kriti Vardhan reminded Pakistan that the treaty was concluded in the spirit of goodwill and friendship. But it cannot be denied that there has been fundamental changes in circumstances such as technological advancements, demographic changes, climate change, and cross-border terrorism, which necessitated a reassessment of the treaty. Meanwhile, India continues to expand its global outreach in the wake of Operation Sindoor. An all-party delegation led by BJP MP Ravi Shankar Prasad departed from Denmark and arrived in the UK. The delegation will meet parliamentarians, think tanks and diaspora leaders to reiterate India's zero-tolerance stance on terrorism. From the UK, the delegation will hold discussions with the European Union and Germany. And while reality dawns on Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif as he addresses the Staff College in Quetta, Pakistan Prime Minister has confessed the agony that he and his Field Marshal Asim Munir faced in representing a struggling Pakistan with the international community.
Iran, Azerbaijan, and other Central Asian states are growing even stronger as we are ready to build mutually beneficial trade, investment, and economic ties. China is the most time-tested friend of Pakistan. Saudi Arabia is one of the most reliable, trustworthy friend of Pakistan. And so are others, Turkey, Qatar, UAE. But let me make this point abundantly clear. They expect us now to engage them in trade, in commerce, innovation, research and development, education, health, investments, and profitable ventures, mutually beneficial. And they no more expect that we go there with a begging bowl. And I am the last person, along with Field Marshal Sayyid Asim Munir, to carry this burden anymore on my shoulder, because it ultimately translates on the shoulders of this great nation.
Shehbaz also called for defeating terrorism and making use of Pakistan's natural resources.
The natural resources, human resources, Allah Almighty has blessed us with, we must make full use of it and deploy them for these very profitable ventures. And if we are able to defeat terrorism, if we are able to put the nation together, which is united like never before, and if we are absolutely clear in our vision that we have to promote export-led growth, we must not promote those idling units in Pakistan.
The Pakistan Prime Minister's remarks come after he, along with Field Marshal Munir, went country to country hoping to sell the Pakistani side of the story amidst the conflict with India last week. The duo went on a four-nation diplomatic mission to Turkey, Iran, Azerbaijan, and Tajikistan from May 25th to 30th. While the Pakistan Prime Minister has been seeing this period as an opportunity, claiming people have never been as united as the present time, ironically, leaders of the largest party in National Assembly and supposedly the most popular leader, Imran Khan, who is in jail, has called for a nationwide movement against the ruling dispensation in the coming days. Detailing Pakistan's economic problems now, its central bank says the country's foreign reserves declined by over $150 million in the first week of March this year. Pakistan's interest payments are now taking up nearly two-thirds of public revenue, leaving limited funds for essential government services. Over the past 25 years, Pakistan has approximately doubled its national debt every 5 years. Pakistan Prime Minister Nasim Munir are also scheduled to continue what has been a self-congratulatory trip to China and Saudi Arabia in the second week of June. And reports say that Prime Minister Sharif is planning to visit other destinations in Gulf, including UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain and Oman as well. And moving to other global news, thousands of Nepali royalists took to the streets of capital Kathmandu, demanding the restoration of the monarchy in support of the king who was deposed 17 years ago. People waved Nepal's flags on the streets and chanted slogans as they marched together in solidarity. The protests are the latest in a string of rallies as support for the restoration of the monarchy grows, amid dissatisfaction over political instability, corruption and slow economic development. A chants of King Come and Save the Nation were seen as marchers chanted in unison, beating drums, blowing horns and waving Nepal's national flag.
In the past, I was also wrong. I, too, went out onto the streets to dethrone the king. But back then, I was not thinking logically. My mind was blocked. Now I have realized that the king is far better than the Republican leaders.
We made a mistake in the past and we're on the wrong path. Now it's high time to bring the king back, save the nation, and lead the country towards good governance.
The rally comes a day after the Communist Party of Nepal, the party of Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli, held marches to mark the Himalayan nation's Republic Day. In March, 2 people were killed and more than 100 arrested during pro-monarchy protests, with security forces using live fire and tear gas to disperse the rally. Last King of Nepal, Gyanendra Shah, expressed sorrow at the violent demonstrations the following month, while lending tacit support. Shah was crowned in 2001 after his elder brother, King Birendra Bir Bikram Shah, and his family were killed in a palace massacre. His coronation took place as a Maoist insurgency was raging in far-flung corners of Nepal. Shah suspended the constitution and dissolved parliament in 2005, triggering protests in which the Maoist side, with Nepal's political establishment, the Hindu-majority nation became a secular republic in 2008. Now, after Parliament abolished the monarchy as part of a peace deal that ended a decade-long civil war. Moving on, the International Crimes Tribunal of Bangladesh is set to formally hear charges against deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The state-owned television network will broadcast the proceedings live, making it a first such instance in the country's history. Now, this as Sheikh Hasina faces multiple cases in Bangladesh courts that have so far debarred photography or telecast of trial proceedings against her. However, the decision of the International Crimes Tribunal to allow live streaming of the hearing is set to break the tradition in the case of Hasina, who could face the death penalty on the charges brought against her. Earlier in February, the 3-judge ICTBD had ordered the investigation against Sheikh Hasina to be completed by April. The ICTBD prosecutor, Ghazi MH Tamim, told media that as the tribunal's proceedings would start, the entire nation will witness the submission of the first formal charges against influential figures of the ousted Awami League government, including Sheikh Hasina. Now, this tribunal was originally formed by the past regime to try harden collaborators of Pakistani troops during the 1971 Liberation War. Sheikh Hasina was ousted on August 5th last year, following a student-led uprising. And just 3 days later, after Sheikh Hasina resigned and left the country, Muhammad Yunus was sworn in as the head of Bangladesh's interim government. The ICTBD had earlier issued an arrest warrant against Sheikh Hasina as the interim government led by Muhammad Yunus sought her repatriation from India. New Delhi had acknowledged receiving the diplomatic communication, but refrained commenting on it. Now, China has issued a warning to the U.S. asking the country not to play with fire over Taiwan. It said it has lost representation with Washington over a speech by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at a summit in Singapore. The Chinese Foreign Ministry, in a statement, told U.S. to not try and use the Taiwan issue as a bargaining chip to contain China. Hegseth had warned that the threat from China is real and potentially imminent, as he pushed allies in the Indo-Pacific to spend more on their own defense needs. Hegseth was addressing the Shangri-La dialogue that attracts top defense officials, senior military officers, diplomats, weapon makers, and security analysts from around the globe. The Pentagon chief warned of China's expansionist ambitions across the Taiwan Strait and the Indo-Pacific region.
Any attempt by Communist China to conquer Taiwan by force would result in devastating consequences for the Indo-Pacific and the world. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. The threat China poses is real, and it could be imminent. We hope not, but it certainly could be.
China views Taiwan as its own territory and has vowed to reunify with a democratic and separately governed island by force if necessary. It has stepped up military and political pressure to assert those claims, including increasing the intensity of war games around Taiwan. The Chinese military and Coast Guard on Saturday launched a sea and air combat readiness patrol around the Scarborough Shoal, known as Huangyan Island in China. The Southern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, said it had deployed forces to patrol the waters and airspace as part of its continuous efforts this month to strengthen control over the area. The patrols come about a month after China and the Philippines accused each other of proactive actions near the contested Scarborough Shoal. Manila's defense chief warned Chinese activities are getting more aggressive and expansive. He cautioned that China needs to overcome a deficit of trust to mend its fraught defense ties with the Philippines.
I believe my foreign affairs colleagues are trying their level best to engage China, but on the defense side, I see what we have seen is that China has to overcome a deficit of trust and credibility that it has implanted not only in the defense establishment but on the ordinary Filipino itself, himself or herself.
Well, moving on, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that his Omani counterpart presented elements of a U.S. proposal for a nuclear deal between Tehran and Washington during a short visit to Tehran on Saturday. In a post on social media X, Araghchi said that Iran will respond to the U.S. proposal in line with the principles, national interests, and rights of people of Iran. His statement comes ahead of an anticipated sixth round of talks between Washington and Tehran to resolve a decades-long dispute over Iran's nuclear program. The date and venue of talks have not been yet announced. Earlier, the White House said it had sent Iran a detailed and acceptable proposal for a nuke deal. Now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Trump made it clear to Iran that it can never obtain a nuclear bomb, although she declined to provide further details. On May 30th, Trump said that an Iran deal was possible in the not-too-distant future. The development comes amidst a report by UN nuclear watchdog, which said that Iran had stepped up its production of enriched uranium. That's a key component in the making of nuclear weapons.